everyone, I'm Lydia from Novelty and Happy Independence Day. I was camping with my family on July 4th, so today I'm donning my red, white, and blue, except there's no white, and I am talking about some patriotic books. About 6 months ago, I found out that one of my favorite historical fiction writers, Jocelyn Green, was releasing a new book called Refugee, and I was like, oh my goodness, I want to review it. So I right away signed up, and I got this book in the mail. I don't know, I think it was in April, and was so excited because her books are amazing and take me right to the time period and right to that place, and I just like get sucked in immediately. And then I realized this was about the French Revolution, and a long time ago I like totally was like, no more French Revolution books, because I kind of scarred myself as like a 12-year-old reading a book about the French Revolution when I had no clue what it was about, and it's horrifying. But then I was like, okay, I'll give this book a try. And this book was absolutely amazing. It gave me such a full picture of what was happening, but without all the gory details. There was enough like details to let me know how horrific it was, but not enough to put me in depression, and so it was a perfect balance and so amazing. And it's not just the French Revolution, it also takes place then in America. Like, the main character flees from France and ends up in America, so it kind of parallels what's going on then versus like in France versus what's going on in America, which is super cool, and a look at history I never got to before since I had shunned the French Revolution and everything about it, which might not have been the best idea. But this book takes place in, I think it's the 1790s, yes. And so I hadn't really ever read it like that way, like being like, oh, this is what's going on in France versus what's going on in America. And then in this book, in the afterword or something like that, she mentions this book, which is The Lace Maker. And so I got it out at the library, and like the characters, I guess, are somehow like entwined, which I never really figured out what they were talking about in the afterword, but apparently these two authors got together and were like, hey, let's have one of the characters be the same, which I think it was a minor character. I'm still slightly confused about that. But so that made me want to read this book, which takes place in, I think it's 1775 is when it starts. And this takes place in the United States. And so this book did have too much romance for my taste, but still, it was a really cool look about the English Revolution, or not the English Revolution, wow, the American Revolution. But it was really cool, and it showed like what was going on in America at that time, which was right before this book. So reading like what's going on right here and then reading what's going on over in France over here, it was really cool and a cool look. And the fact that I read them both right around the same time just gave me a much wider picture of what was happening in the world than just if I would have read one of the books. And then this book pops up. I don't even know why I got this book from the library. It just looked interesting, Freedom's Ring. And so I grabbed it. It's one of those dual like time period books where it takes place in Boston in 2015 and Boston in 1770. And okay, this is really bad, but I'm one of those people who are like, I just want to find out what happens in this story plot here. So I kind of read all the chapters that took place in the 1770s, and then went back later and read the 2015 ones, because the 1770s are really what captured me and brought me in and was like, okay, what's going to happen next? And so all three of these books right here, they just like kind of happened in my life. I hadn't been planning on reading books that took place in the 1700s, and I'd never really read a bunch of books from that time period, but these three books were really fascinating and gave me a much broader picture of that time period in our history. And I thought it was a very fitting video to do this week since it's the 4th of July.